Here's a little statistic for you. According to USA Today, 1 in 5 surgery patients, 1 in 5, gets hit with shock bills following surgery. That's right, bills that show up after elective surgery, and it costs them just a pile, right? Costs them just a pile. Richard Manning is here. He's the president of Americans for Limited Government. Richard, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Steve. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. And, a lot of people want to stay well, and they get involved with their medical supplier, and they get medical treatment of whatever kind. And then we hear about these shock bills that show up and say, where did this come from? I didn't know this was going to happen. It can be very unsettling, can it?
Yeah, and, most people don't have, hundreds or thousands of dollars just laying around for bills that they don't have any ability to anticipate. And so this has become a problem, and it's largely an offshoot of Obamacare. And while it happened before that, it's become exacerbated under Obamacare because, quite honestly, pricing flexibility for insurers has been limited in terms of what they can charge. And so on the back end, the insurers are squeezing the providers harder than ever, and the providers are sitting there going, well, we can't actually provide the service what the insurers want to pay us. And so your health insurance is only covering a part of the expense that you are, in fact, being asked to pay. So the health providers are then stuck sending people bills beyond what they anticipated and end up looking like the bad guy when, in fact, they're just like everybody. They're not sitting there trying to mess anybody over. They're just trying to make certain that they make the money they
right.
need to make.
I mean, they provided the service. They provided the service. They want to make sure that the supplies they used were paid for. They want to make sure that the service they provided was fairly compensated. It's not unreasonable. The problem that we have with surprise medical bills is that when you go to the hospital, you go to the doctor, you never know. You never know because it's not like it's, okay, an aspirin costs this and stitches cost that and saline costs. You don't know what it costs until you get home and you look at the bill and go, oh, my God, look at this.
Yeah, usually it comes a couple of months afterwards after the insurer has said no, I'll only pay, the anesthesiologist, $100, and the anesthesiologist says, no, it costs $250. And so it's that's usually, so you get it a month or two later. But yeah, you're exactly right in terms of the cost of medical supplies and the like, and even cost of services. President Trump's trying to do something about that aspect of it by putting in a regulation that requires hospital transparency. So, the hospitals put their price lists up. And if you're going for elective surgery, you can look at hospital after the end of this year. It goes into effect December 2020. You'll be able to look and say, okay, it costs $100,000 to get my neonatal care here, and it costs $42,000 to get neonatal care there.
But you only get what you pay for. Remember that. You might not get the kid you expected if you pay half price. Well, I'm just kidding, of course. Richard Manning here.
What I always say, Steve, is that there's I really don't want an anesthesiologist that only does half the job.
Well, right, you don't want to wake up screaming. Yeah, wake up screaming. Where's the rest of the gas? Well, you only paid half the price. Richard Manning, president of Americans for Limited Government. But let me ask you this. Hold on, because I want to get to something here.
The real issue here is it deals with that kind of surprise billing, and there's a one-size-fits-all approach that some people are pushing in Congress that Lamar Alexander likes. Is really the wrong way to do it because it assumes the medical costs are the same in Tennessee as they are in Michigan as they are in California. And that really, we know one-size-fits-all means that you're going to have less provider services as a result.
Right. That's right. It's going to create a problem. And in California, you end up with a doctor shortage. In fact, doctor shortages are occurring all over this country now. So when you come in and do some price fixing, or put a cap on things, as you say, a one-size-fits-all, that generally does not work.
No, it never works. And what it does is it causes there to be less services provided. or services end up being only provided in areas where you can afford to actually, where the pricing is such that you can make it work financially, where you have economy of scales that make certain types of tests more available and the like. So, bottom line with this is the one-size-fits-all pricing really ends up messing stuff up. I've put a website up, stopsocializedmedicine.org, stopsocializedmedicine.org, so people can go and take a look at it if they want to weigh into Congress about it. They can, but what we know is to get burning care, you need to have the one-size-fits-all pricing. It is a precursor to socialized medicine, and if the Republicans in this Congress go along with that, they are essentially putting the pieces in place for the Medicare for All push, which we know what happens. We know there's rationing under that system. There are better ways to do it, and there are other alternatives that are out there,
well,
which
the problem,
will
Richard,
help deal with surprise medical billing.
Yeah.
One-size-fits-all pricing, isn't it?
The problem, Richard, is that Republicans have already embraced the single-payer system in more places than one. They did it in Massachusetts. They also have done it in Utah with the Intermountain healthcare system there that's pretty monopolistic, to say the least. It's one company that controls 75% of all healthcare in the Intermountain West, not just Utah, but Montana and Idaho and that section of the country. And so Republicans, unfortunately, are all too happy to go down this trail sometimes, especially if people contribute to their reelection campaigns, I believe.
Yeah, this is unfortunately, you're right. This is pushed by, this one-size-fits-all is pushed by the health insurers who look at this as a way to guarantee their profits. In a world where they have little price flexibility, I don't fully blame them. They're in a situation caused by Obamacare that puts them in somewhat dire straits in terms of covering things, and yet they're required to do so. The challenge in this, Steve, is it is exactly the wrong prescription because it solves a short-term problem for the health insurers. It creates a long-term problem for the country. And Republicans need to figure it out that you can't say out of one side of your mouth that you oppose Medicare for all, you oppose Bernie care, you oppose Obamacare, and on the other side, basically build the architecture that the lefts can put those exact failed healthcare systems into place, and right on top of the architecture the Republicans built.
Well, there you go. All right, so that's where we're going to leave it for today. Richard Manning, president of Americans for Limited Government. One size does not fit all, that's for sure. How about a little teaspoon of socialism? No, thank you. I'm good. I'm good with that. Thank you, Richard. As always, we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Steve.
As always, there you have it. Quick break right now. By the way,